Sergeant Robert Batten is crouching in absolute darkness. The tunnel is 2 feet high, maybe 3 feet wide. The earthen walls press against his shoulders on both sides. He cannot stand. He cannot turn around. If he needs to retreat, he must crawl backward through pitch black, knowing the enemy might be behind him. Every breath brings the smell of earth, decay, gunpowder, and fresh blood from the enemy soldier he killed 3 chambers back. The temperature is over 100 degrees. The humidity is suffocating. Sweat pours down his face, stings his eyes, soaks his t-shirt. His flashlight is in his left hand, the beam cutting through dust particles suspended in the stagnant air. A .38 revolver in his right hand, hammer-cocked, finger on the trigger. One squeeze and he fires. No time for anything else in this coffin of dirt and darkness. Behind him, his lieutenant follows 5 meters back, far enough that if Batten triggers a trap, the blast might not kill them both. Close, enough to provide covering fire if needed. The lieutenant's job is crucial. Reload spent weapons, watch for threats from behind, and if Batten gets hit, drag him out, or die trying. They have been underground for 3 hours. In 3 hours, they have crawled maybe 200 meters. Progress is measured in inches, not miles. They have cleared 16 trapdoors, each one a potential death sentence. Fired dozens of rounds into the blackness before opening each chamber. Killed 3 Viet Cong. Captured 2 more who surrendered when they heard American voices in tunnels they thought were safe. Batten's knees are raw from crawling on dirt and rocks. His elbows are bleeding. His back screams from maintaining a crouch for hours. His lungs burn from breathing air that has too little oxygen. Every muscle in his body tells him to turn back, to retreat, to get out of this underground hell. And now Batten crawls toward trapdoor number 17. He reaches the wooden door, reinforced with bamboo, designed to blend into the tunnel ceiling so perfectly that in darkness you might crawl right under it. But Batten's flashlight catches the edge. He knows what to look for. He has done this hundreds of times. He reaches up with his left hand. Flashlight clenched in his teeth now, illuminating the trapdoor from below. His right hand keeps the revolver pointed forward. He pushes the door open slowly. It creaks on bamboo hinges. The sound echoes. If anyone is waiting in the chamber above, they know he is coming. He shines the flashlight into the chamber. Nothing moves in the beam, but that means nothing. The enemy could be pressed against the wall just outside the light, holding their breath, waiting to put a knife in his throat. He fires 3 shots into the darkness above. Bang! 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 The muzzle flash blinds him temporarily. The sound is deafening. His ears ring. Cordite smoke fills the tunnel. Dust and dirt rain down from the ceiling. Standard procedure. 3 shots. Never more. Never less. If someone is waiting above, the bullets will hit them. If the chamber is empty, you waste 3 rounds, but you stay alive. 3 shots is not arbitrary. It is survival math worked out through trial and blood. 1 shot might miss, 2 shots might hit but not stop a determined enemy. 3 shots spread in a pattern will hit anything waiting in that small space. But 4 shots or 5 means you are reloading. And reloading takes 3 seconds. 3 seconds where your gun is useless. 3 seconds where the enemy can rush you. So it is always 3. The tunnel rats learned this lesson the hard way. Men died teaching it. Men who fired 4 shots instead of 3 and paid with their lives. Batten hands the empty revolver back to his lieutenant. Takes the reloaded one. Smooth. Practiced. They have done this exchange 1,000 times. No words needed. Just muscle memory keeping them alive. They switch positions. The lieutenant crawls forward to take point. Batten follows 5 meters back. The lieutenant reaches the door. Pushes it open. Before he can raise his weapon to fire, the door slams shut. Then it opens again. A fragmentation grenade drops through the opening and lands in the lieutenant's lap. Both men see it at the same instant. Dark green. Soviet-made. Fuse already burning. They scramble backward. In a tunnel 2 feet high, scrambling means crawling on your belly like you are drowning in earth. They flatten themselves against the dirt walls. 4 seconds, 3, 2. The grenade detonates. Shrapnel tears through both men's legs. The tunnel fills with smoke and dust and the ringing echo of the blast. Blood pours into the dirt. They are wounded. They are trapped. And somewhere above them, the Viet Cong soldier who dropped that grenade is reloading. This is not Batten's first wound, it is his fourth Purple Heart, and he still has to crawl back to the surface or die underground. This is the story of the most, story of legendary tunnel rat in the Vietnam War. The only enlisted man, the only sergeant on the Viet Cong's top 10 most wanted list. Every other name on that list is a general, division commanders, men who lead thousands of troops, and one sergeant who leads 8 tunnel rats. Think about that. The enemy feared Batten so much they ranked him alongside generals. Let me tell you who Robert Batten really was. The year is 1965. The Viet Cong ambush American patrols, plant mines, attack bases at night, then vanish into the jungle like ghosts. Commanders are baffled. Where are they hiding? Intelligence reports reveal the truth. The enemy is living underground. The Cu Chi district northwest of Saigon contains over 150 miles of tunnels, some sections 3 levels deep, 30 feet underground where no bomb can reach, with ventilation shafts carefully disguised as termite mounds so aircraft cannot spot them from the air, with trapdoors hidden under leaves and brush, so perfectly camouflaged that you can step on one and never know it is there. The scale is staggering. Conference rooms underground where 50 men can sit for briefings, operating theatres where surgeons perform battlefield surgery by candlelight, armories storing thousands of weapons, kitchens with ventilation systems that disperse cooking smoke across dozens of outlets, so no concentration of smoke reveals the location. Barracks where entire companies sleep during the day and emerge only at night to fight. The Viet Cong have been digging these tunnels since the war against the French in the 1940s and 50s. 20 years of excavation, millions of man-hours, an entire invisible army beneath American boots. During Operation Crimp in January 1966, 8,000 American and Australian troops conduct a massive search and destroy operation in the Hobo Woods, part of the Iron Triangle. An Australian soldier sits on a nail sticking from the ground. It is a trapdoor handle. He opens it and discovers a tunnel entrance. Hundreds more are found. The Americans realize they are standing on top of a massive underground city, the 4th military region headquarters for the Viet Cong. Miles of tunnels, 500,000 pages of intelligence documents revealing enemy operational plans, the identities of communist agents, detailed maps of American bases, supply routes from Cambodia. The Americans try everything to destroy them. They flood the tunnels, but the Viet Cong-built U bends that trap water. They pump tear gas, but the enemy waits in sealed chambers with wet cloths. They use German shepherds, but the Viet Cong wash with stolen American soap. They drop explosives and bomb from the air, but the networks are too vast, too deep. So American commanders face reality. If they cannot destroy the tunnels from above, they must send soldiers inside. They need volunteers, small men who can fit through narrow passages, men crazy enough to crawl into enemy territory where every corner might hide death. Most soldiers want nothing to do with this job. The casualty rate for tunnel rats is 33%. 1 in 3 men who go underground gets killed or wounded. But some men volunteer anyway, men like Robert Batten. Batten is assigned to the 1st Engineer Battalion, 1st Infantry Division in late 1966. He is already a sergeant, a professional soldier who volunteers because someone has to do this, and he would rather do it himself than watch untrained men die learning. The tunnel rats become known as the die-hard tunnel rats. Their motto is non gratum anus rodentum, not worth a rat's arse. Dark humour for men doing the most dangerous job in the war. Batten leads a team of 8 men. 8 because only one man can fit in a tunnel at a time, but Batten always goes first. That is leadership. The man who leads does not send others where he will not go. The equipment is minimal: a flashlight, a .38, revolver, a knife, communication wire, no helmet, no body armour, just a t-shirt and boots. You strip down because every inch of mobility matters in a tunnel 2 feet high, and then you crawl into hell. And Batten did this more than anyone. Here is what the Viet Cong do to kill tunnel rats. They wait behind trapdoors with weapons, AK-47s, SKS rifles, sometimes just a knife. Point-blank range in the dark, no room to dodge. They build punji pits inside tunnels, concealed holes lined with sharpened bamboo stakes smeared with human feces. You are crawling forward in absolute darkness. Your flashlight illuminates maybe 3 feet ahead. The tunnel floor looks solid. Packed earth. Safe. You shift your weight forward and suddenly you're falling 6 feet down onto stakes that impale you through the legs, the abdomen, the chest. The wounds are horrific, and the infection from the human waste kills you slowly even if your team gets you out before you bleed to death underground. They string tripwires across passages, fishing line, barely visible wire, invisible in the darkness even with a flashlight. Set at ankle height or waist height, you crawl forward, carefully checking every inch of tunnel. Your flashlight is pointed ahead, watching for threats. The tripwire is below your sight line. Your knee hits it, your weight pulls it taut, and a grenade detonates behind you, or a homemade mine explodes beneath you, or a crossbow mechanism releases a bolt that shoots through your back, or a swinging log studded with rusty nails swings down from a concealed niche in the ceiling and crushes you. The tunnel rats learn to move slowly, to check everything, to shine the flashlight up, down, ahead, constantly sweeping for any sign of a trap. Every meter of progress requires intense concentration. One moment of inattention means death. They release poisonous snakes into the tunnels, crates, cobras, bamboo vipers, snakes that hide in the darkness and strike when you crawl. Past. The venom works fast. Neurotoxins that paralyze your breathing. You die gasping in the dark while your team tries desperately to drag you out. Even if they get you to the surface, even if a medic is waiting with anti-venom, you might not make it. The venom works too fast, the tunnel is too long. They build false floors that collapse when you crawl over them. A thin layer of bamboo matting covered with dirt to look like solid ground. Underneath, a 10-foot pit with stakes at the bottom. Or worse, a pit filled with water where you drown because the tunnel is too narrow to swim back to the surface. You drop through the false floor and hit water. You are disoriented. Which way is up? You cannot see. The water is filthy, opaque, full of mud and debris. You panic. You thrash. Your lungs burn. You open your mouth to scream and water rushes in. They dig U-bends into the tunnel system specifically designed to drown invaders. A passage curves downward into a U-shape like the pipe under a sink, then curves back upward. During normal operations, the U-bend is dry. But when the Viet Cong hear a tunnel rat approaching, they flood that section. Water fills the U-bend. The tunnel rat is crawling forward in darkness. He sees nothing unusual ahead. He crawls forward and suddenly his head goes underwater. He tries to surface, but there is no surface. The tunnel ceiling is right there. He is underwater in a coffin. He cannot turn around in a space this tight. He drowns within 60 seconds. Sometimes they just seal the entrance. They collapse the opening with explosives or fill it with dirt. Wall you in. You're alive in the tunnel. You have air for a few hours. You have a flashlight. You have your weapon. None of it matters. You are buried alive. You crawl back toward the entrance that should be there and find only dirt. You dig with your hands, with your knife, with your bare fingers until they bleed. But the entrance has tons of earth piled on it. You cannot dig through it. No one on the surface can hear you screaming. You die underground slowly in the dark. Batten knows all of this. Every tunnel rat knows. 33% casualty rate. They see the bloodstains on walls. They see the remains of soldiers who died underground. They know what can happen. They go down anyway. Because the intelligence they gather saves American lives. Every tunnel cleared is one less place the enemy can attack from. Every document recovered reveals enemy plans. Every Viet Cong killed underground cannot ambush patrols on the surface, and Batten leads them all. 1968. Batten's team is called to a hot tunnel complex in the Iron Triangle. This is the mission that will become legend. Day 1, they clear passages for 12 hours, room by room, door by door, 3 shots into the darkness. By the end of Day 1, they flush 5 Viet Cong to the surface where American troops capture them. Day 2, they go deeper. 3 enemy soldiers dead, 4 captured, 15 more flee to the surface. The tunnel rats are dismantling an enemy stronghold. Day 3 is when Batten proves why he is a legend. Deep underground, Batten and his lieutenant are clearing another section. They have been down here for hours. The air is foul. Oxygen is scarce. Your lungs burn with every breath. Your muscles scream from crawling for hours in a position the human body is not designed to sustain. But the mission continues. Batten does not quit. He never quits. They reach the trap door. Batten opens it, fires 3 shots, hands the revolver back, takes the reloaded one. They switch positions. The lieutenant crawls forward. Batten watches from behind, 5 meters back, close enough to help, far enough to survive if something goes wrong. The lieutenant reaches the door, pushes it open. The door slams shut, opens again. The grenade falls. The blast tears through both men's legs, shrapnel shreds muscle and bone. Blood pours into the dirt. The tunnel fills with smoke. Batten's ears are ringing. His legs are on fire. He looks down and sees the damage. Deep lacerations, fragments of metal embedded in his calves and thighs. He is bleeding heavily. The lieutenant is worse. More shrapnel. Closer to the blast. He cannot stand. He can barely crawl. They are deep underground. Maybe 100 meters from the nearest entrance. In a tunnel 2 feet high where you cannot stand, cannot run, cannot carry a wounded man. You can only crawl. And somewhere above them, the enemy knows they are wounded. Batten makes a decision. He will not leave his lieutenant. Tunnel rats have a code. No man gets left in the tunnels. Not wounded, not dead. You bring everyone out or you die trying. He starts crawling backward, dragging himself with his arms because his legs will not work properly. Behind him the lieutenant crawls too, slower, weaker, losing blood. Batten keeps moving. Every meter is agony. Every movement tears the wounds wider. Blood soaks his pants, his boots, the dirt beneath him. He leaves a trail behind him, but he keeps moving. The other tunnel rats hear the explosion over the communication wire. They know something went wrong. They start moving toward Batten's position, crawling through the tunnels to reach him. It takes an hour to get both men to the surface. When they emerge, medics are waiting. Both men are evacuated to a field hospital. Surgery, blood transfusions, weeks of recovery. This is Batten's 4th Purple Heart, 4 times wounded in tunnel combat. Most men would take the medical evacuation home. Most men would say enough. Not Batten. He goes back down. He returns to his unit after recovery. He keeps leading missions, keeps crawling into the darkness. Because this is what he does. This is who he is. The soldier who goes first so others have a chance. But here is the remarkable thing. After Batten is hit on day 3, his men do not retreat. They push past where their wounded leader fell. They press the fight even deeper into the tunnel complex. They keep going because Batten taught them how. Because his example inspired them to be better, to be braver, to never quit. They flush over 150 enemy soldiers out of those tunnels. 150. Think about that. 150 Viet Cong forced to surface where American troops are waiting. 150 enemy soldiers who can no longer use those tunnels for ambushes, for staging attacks, for hiding from American firepower. 150 combatants removed from the fight in a single multi-day operation. All because Batten and his team refused to quit. All because he taught them that you never retreat, you never surrender, you push forward until the mission is complete. This is not a story about survival. This is a story about victory, about dominance, about 8 men led by 1 sergeant who became so effective that the enemy put him on their most wanted list. The Viet Cong know his name, Batman. They put him on their top 10 most wanted, the only enlisted man, the only sergeant. Every other name is a general. Because Batten and his team killed or captured hundreds of enemy soldiers over 3 tours. They destroyed supply caches that would have been used to attack American bases. They recovered intelligence that exposed assassination plots, revealed enemy positions, identified communist agents operating in the South Vietnamese government. On one mission that has been documented in historical records, tunnel rats discovered paperwork outlining a detailed plan to assassinate Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara. The documents included operational details, timelines, the identities of the assassins. The intelligence was immediately passed up the chain of command. The assassin cell was identified, tracked, and captured. The entire cell was then executed. An American cabinet member's life was saved because tunnel rats crawled through hell and found documents the enemy thought were safe 30 feet underground. Batten survives 3 tours in Vietnam, hundreds of tunnel entries, 4 Purple Hearts earned in the darkness, a Bronze Star for Valor awarded by General Orwin C. Talbot in June 1969 for tunnel clearing operations in the Iron Triangle. He tries to volunteer for a 4th tour. The army says no, not because Batten cannot do the job, because the brass decides he has done enough. 3 years underground, 4 Purple Hearts, the army sends him home. Batten settles in Crestview, Florida. He does not talk much about the war. Most tunnel rats do not. You carry it. You remember. You move forward. In 1985, the book The Tunnels of Cu Chi is published. An entire chapter called Rat 6 and Batman focuses on Batten and his commanding officer. Life magazine publishes a feature article titled Down Dirty and Deadly. 60 Minutes does an episode featuring Batten and other tunnel rats narrated by Morley Safer. In 2003, Jack Flowers publishes Rat 6, a first-hand account of commanding the tunnel rats. Batten is portrayed as the unofficial leader, the warrior who inspired everyone around him. Batten dies in 2003 in Crestview, Florida. He is survived by family who remember him as a man who did what needed to be done and came home to live a quiet life. His legacy survives in ways he never imagined. Israel's Yahalom unit, a specialized combat engineering force charged with tunnel warfare, trains soldiers using techniques developed by men like Batten. When Hamas builds tunnels under Gaza, Israeli soldiers go underground using lessons learned in the Qchi district 50 years earlier. The 3-shot rule, the spacing between men, the communication protocols, the never leave a man behind ethos. Soviet units during the Afghan war created their own tunnel rat teams when Mujahideen fighters hid in cave complexes. They studied American tactics from Vietnam. They learned from Batten's successes and the failures of others. Modern special operations forces across the world train for underground combat. Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, Marine Force Recon, Delta Force, British SAS. They all learn the same lessons that Batten helped pioneer. Go slow, fire before opening doors, never fire more than 3 shots, trust your team, bring everyone out, check everything, move methodically, stay calm in the darkness. These are Batten's lessons, written in blood, learned in darkness, passed down through generations of warriors who fight in confined spaces where courage is measured in meters crawled and doors cleared. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is crawling forward when fear tells you to stop, when you cannot run because the tunnel is 2 feet high and your only way out is forward through the darkness toward the enemy. Sergeant Robert Batten embodies all of this. The courage to go first, the discipline to survive, the loyalty to bring his men home. He is Batman, the only sergeant on the Viet Cong's most wanted list, the man who volunteered for 3 tours and tried to go back for a 4th, the warrior who led his team to flush 150 enemy soldiers from a single tunnel complex and survived 4 wounds doing it. His story is not fiction. This actually happened. Robert Batten was a real man who really did these things. Real men fought underground in Vietnam. Real men died there. Real men like Batten survived and came home carrying memories that never fade. The tunnel rats, 8-person teams crawling through enemy territory, fighting muzzle flash to muzzle flash, killing hundreds, saving thousands, doing the job no one else wanted because someone had to. Batman led them. For 3 years, he crawled into the darkness so others could fight in the light. He killed the enemy underground so they could not ambush American soldiers above. He gathered intelligence that saved lives. He brought his men home. 4 Purple Hearts, a bronze star for valor. Featured in books, Life magazine, 60 Minutes. The only enlisted man on the enemy's most wanted list. A chapter in history written in courage and blood, and a legacy that endures. Because every time a soldier trains for underground combat, every time special operations forces study tunnel warfare, they are learning from men like Batman. The tunnels of Qchi are now a tourist attraction. You can crawl through sanitized sections built wider than the originals. You can see the trapdoors and bunkers, but you cannot feel what Batten felt. The weight of absolute darkness. The certainty that death waits around every corner. The knowledge that your only way out is forward. The bond with the men who will bring you home or die trying. That feeling lived only in the men who went down. Men like Robert Batten. Men who earned the right to be called tunnel rats and wore the name with pride. Non gratum anus rodentum. Not worth a rat's ass. But they were worth everything. Every mission completed. Every soldier saved. Every enemy stopped. Every day survived. Batman died in 2003. But his story lives on. In books, in documentaries, in the memories of men who served with him, in the tactics taught to soldiers who fight underground today. He was the most legendary tunnel rat in the Vietnam War. The warrior who went down more times than anyone should have survived. The sergeant who led from the front. The soldier who crawled through hell and came back. The man who tried to volunteer for a 4th tour because 3 years underground was not enough. The army said, no. They sent him home. But they could not send home the legend he created. That lives forever. This is his story. The real story of Robert Batman Batten. The story of men who fought a war most people never knew existed and won it 1 tunnel at a time. Always underground, always in darkness, always moving forward, always leading from the front. Because that is what tunnel rats do. That is what Batman did. They crawl into hell so others do not have to.